what I want to do is show you how to set up the basis for a multiplayer game in Unity. So what I have here, just to show you what our end result is going to be, is a multiplayer Unity thing. And I have a little host, client, or server only option here. This is the multiplayer, check-in thing. So here's one instance of the multiplayer game. Here's another instance of the multiplayer game that we could say somebody else is playing on their computer. And let's even open up a third instance of the multiplayer game. Okay? Now, when everybody's going to play a multiplayer game, one of the players has to be the host, or one of the things has to be like the server for the whole game thing. So let's do it that this guy over here is the host. He's starting up the game, so I'm going to press host. And then over here I have player 1, this little pill with the little white booty is player 1. And I'm just going to place him like right here. And then over here, since already we have a host, we're going to have to log in to the game. And here it's hard to see, but it says localhost is where we're playing. And localhost means my own computer, right? So I'm going to start client. And now I have 2 players. But over here, this is multiplayer number 2 that you're controlling. So if I click in this window and move around, I'm moving around player 2. And then just like any multiplayer game, you can have multiple people join, and each one of them has representation in the game. Multiplayer 3. So how do you do this in Unity that it's the same game that everybody's playing, but they could all participate in the same level together, like this, from different computers? Well, first thing to know is that every computer, when you see this here where it says localhost is a word that you could use to talk about the current computer that you are on. But if I had 2 different laptops, like, this one over here and then another one over on the side there, my friend sitting on the right, I'm going to have to know what is the IP address of the computer that's being the host. Okay? So let's see. Here, this guy started up the game. And if I want to get the IP address of my computer, I'll go to the start bar and type CMD and then IP config is something I can type in to get like the IP address right here, 192.168.254.19. It's kind of like a telephone number. All right, so over here I'm going to connect up to 192.168.254.19. That's kind of like a telephone number of the computer that I want to call and hook up to the game for. So if I say client over here, bam, I hooked up, of course, to the local computer. So I could either use the number, the IP number, or the word localhost if it's all on the same computer. All right, how do we make this Unity game? Let's find out by starting over from scratch with a brand new Unity project. So I'm going to create a brand new one, and I'll leave it in 3D, and I'll call it multi-tutorial, and I'll just say create. All right, and now a game comes up. There's a brand new 3D game here. I guess I'd make it full screen. And let's make a game scene here just to have something like we did in the other one. So I'll just make a floor with this 3D cube, make it bigger, like 30 by 30. Then let me get a texture. Let me drag and drop the floor texture and put it on the floor, on the cube. Oh, I'm in the game view. Let me go to scene view. Put it on the cube, and there we go. So that texture, let's tile it a little bit, like 5 by 5, okay? And let's call this the floor. I'm just making a scene first for the game. Then I'm going to add, I'll add a cylinder in to be the player. Oh, not a cylinder, sorry, I mean a capsule. So delete that. And add a capsule in to be the player. Badoop, okay. And let's make a different color for the player like we had in my demo in the beginning. So I'll just call this player, and then just give it a color. Okay, make it shiny, I like shiny. And put that on the player. Now it's a little dark on one side, so let me just add another light in there so we can see it no matter where I am. Let me duplicate. Okay, and for this light, let me just rotate it so that the dark side is not dark. Alright, cool. Now Z is forward. Let's make the controls easy. Let's make that Z face forward. So when I'm pressing the WASD, it moves the right way. Alright, so I have my 2 lights, I have my floor, and I have my capsule, which I'm just going to call player. Now, everything's normal. I'm not doing anything multiplayer yet. Let me make a script for my player so that I can move around. Boom. And let me open up that script in Visual Studio 2019. And now let's see. Let's gut this out. Take that out. And we'll just start off with the things we need. Well, I'm going to make the player have a rigid body. I'm going to use a rigid body in here, so I'll just put require component, type of rigid body. Okay. Then down here, well, you know what? I don't even need a rigid body to do this. Alright. So I'm going to be able to move this player. So public, float, move speed, and I'll have default speed at 3.5. Then I'll have public, float, turn speed, and I'll have a rotational speed of 120 degrees. Okay, private void. Now in the update function, I'm gonna just put some commands in here to do some movement. Okay, so I'll put this in here. All right, so I move back and forth and I rotate left and right. And let's put this on the player and see if that works right now. So here's the player, and drag and drop the script on there. And when you press play, and moving, you kind of can't tell if I'm turning, so let's put another shape on there to help emphasize where my back is. So what I did in the last one is I just put a sphere, and the sphere, let's get closer. The sphere, I just moved it so that it was just sticking out a little bit from the back. So you just tell where the butt was. Okay, now I can see if I'm moving left and right. Let's position the camera at this view here. So I just moved my scene into place and just press Control-Shift-F, bam. Now my camera's looking that way. Now let me see the controls. Just setting things up for the multiplayer game. Good, so I can move around. Now, what else do I need? Well, nothing. I have one player and I can move around. Yeah, oh. So, let's just add the other things I know I'm going to put on my player. Like, let me add in some 3D text so we can put the ID of the player over the player. And I'll call it caption. And we will just see caption right here, and it looks really fuzzy, but the trick with that is you just set a really large font size, like 128, but then over here for the character size, you kind of make it small, like 0.1. And the positioning of this caption, it's kind of off a little, but how do I fix that? Oh, it's simple. I just use what do I use? Oh, here we go, sorry. I'll just say upper center, bam, and it doesn't look like it's upper center too high. I could raise it up a little. All right, so, there's my caption, all right, for the that player right there. And in the script, let's do something so you could set the caption from the script. So what is this object? Caption is a text mesh. So here, let's just make a private text mesh. TM equals null. And then we will have a function to set the player caption that will look like this. Copy. Don't worry, you'll have all these scripts available to you from omarvision.com tutorials page. If you just look up this tutorial there on the tutorials page, the links to download the scripts and the whole project will be there. Okay, so this looks for it and it sets the this function sets the caption. So let's say private void start set player caption. I don't know, X, just to see if this works. Now I'm gonna press play. So it's just a little preliminary setup here. There, see, so I'm player X. All right. What else? Oh, let's set the title at the top so we know which game we're playing. And for that, we need a user interface thing, UI, text. All right, let's look at the game view so we can see, like, there it is at the bottom corner. So this is going to be game title. Or the name of this will be text title then. And I'll just, by default, give this the same thing, text title. So when I see it on the screen, I know what I'm talking about. Font size 32, and turn overflows on, centering, and then most importantly of all, up here, I hold down the Alt key and press this button with the Alt key held down, see? And I'll set the position to the top of the screen like it was in the other thing. Now why does it look like it's off the screen? Why? Because of that. There we go. It's there, so that'll show the title. Bam! Okay, we have everything. We have everything in place. Oh, we should have a function that sets the title. So let's just put it in our player script here when the game starts up that we set the title. It looks for the text title game object and sets it. I'm going to need a private text UI. It's going to equal null at first. Okay. I got Unity Engine UI for the text UI. And in the start, we'll say that set title equals game title. There we go. So let's go to the game here in scene view and I press play. And there we go. It didn't set the title. Why? Why not? Oh, because I spelled text tile instead of text title. Text title. Save. Okay, press play. X, game title. Okay, so everything works. I have a game, right? Now's the part where we're going to start putting in the multiplayer stuff. So first thing we do, since this is Unity 2019, is we have to get the multiplayer stuff for our game. And it's not here by default anymore like it used to be in the older Unities. I used to say add component and go to networking. So networking, it's not here yet. So what I have to do first is go to Asset Store, and I could download this free asset called Mirror, which is based off of the old Unity networking thing. So I look it up, Mirror. And here it is. It's free. So let me just get it into this project. So I'm going to import it in. And after I import it in, it's going to put 2 folders here. So I'll say import. And there's going to be 2 folders that it puts here. So I need the mirror to do the multiplayer thing, okay? That's what I'm telling you here. That's why we're downloading the mirror asset. Just hold on a minute. It should come up and ask me to do the import after it downloads the files. Come on, come on. All right, so when it finishes importing, you're going to have a mirror file, and you're going to have a script templates file. You really do have more files than you absolutely need, but I am not sure which ones I can get rid of yet, so I'm just going to let all those files be there from the asset, mirror and script templates. So step 1, I have my steps over here for how to do this. So I'm going to make a multiplayer game. Step 1 was download mirror, and we did that. Now step 2, since we're going to be using the network play, we're going to have to set the default API compatibility for our Unity project to 4.0. So to do that, we just go to Edit Preferences, Edit Project Settings, I mean. And then here with the player, if I scroll down, am I in the right spot? Project Settings, Player, this is Resolution, this is Other Settings. Dang it. Where am I supposed to go? Let me think. I just scroll down here, and somewhere, it's API compatibility level, right here. So by default, it's 2.0. It's always going with the least compatible thing, so it could work on the most things. But we're going to have to bring it up to 4x. So we're going to set the API compatibility level. That's the first thing. The second thing we do on our list is we, set the API compatibility level. Now, the third thing, let's make sure the player is, multiplayer ready. Because right now, the player that we made, it's only ready to be playing on a local machine. So we're going to have to add 2 components that were included in the mirror. When we downloaded and installed the mirror asset, we're going to have to add to our player NetworkIdentity and a NetworkTransform component, okay? So let's do those 2 things. Let's go to the player, and let me just drag an event system under canvas. All right, let's go to the player, and here, like the first component we said we had to add was the NetworkIdentity component, so it could be identified across the network. And now here's network, something that came in since we installed the mirror asset. So NetworkIdentity, that's the first thing. And the second thing we have to add as a component is a NetworkTransform. So let's add to our player a NetworkTransform so it could transfer the position information to the multiplayer game. Boom, boom. And on the NetworkTransform, we're gonna click Client Authority. All right. What else? I knew there was 2 more things. Next thing we have to do is we have to add a network behavior script, and this is going to be necessary since every game that everybody's playing is going to have a player in it. But when you're doing your controls, you only want to control your player, not everybody else's. So we're going to have to add a network behavior script that we're going to make. So let us create a new script, create a C# script, and we'll call it turn off other, what are we going to call it? I don't know. We're going to call it turn off remote players. How about that? Yeah, turn off remote player. So let's open that up and let's type it up, buddy. Let's see. Hello? Double click on you. What's going on? I know. Oh. I have to reload. Okay. Okay. All right, so here we have the new script I'm making, turn off remote player. Those are grayed out. I don't need them. I need Unity Engine because I'm dealing with Unity, and I need to do it using Unity Engine.networking. And this is because I'm not going to derive this class off of mono behavior. This class is going to derive off of the network behavior. Network behavior. Why don't I see it showing up in the thing? Let's see, because network behavior is, let's see, we could show potential fixes. Oh, I have to use the using mirror statement, so go ahead. Network behavior is part of mirror. Whoopsie. All right, so just as a note, the job of this script is going to be to turn off the other remote player scripts so that I'm not controlling them. All right, let me gut this out here, and now we're just going to put what we need. So I do need a bracket. I deleted that by accident. So what we need is in the start function, we're going to identify if we're a local or not player. So let me just get the ID of what this player is on the multiplayer game. So I'm just going to grab it and put it into a string format, comma this dot network ID, net ID. Okay, so every player that comes into the multiplayer game is going to have a net ID. And the player has a player script on it. That's what we want to turn on or off. So I'm going to get a pointer to that player script equals this dot get component, because this network behavior script is also going to go on the player. This dot get component player to get a pointer to the script. Now I can do stuff. If this, this being the network behavior, is local player equals true, So I should be controlling this one. So I want to make sure the script is enabled for the player object for me. And then I'm going to actually use those functions I made. I'm going to set the player caption to equal, I'll just have it equal the ID, the network ID, so we can tell who we are. And let me set the screen, set the title of your game. I'm going to set it to say multiplayer number, whoopsie, gotta be a string, sorry guys, and girls, multiplayer number, and the number is your ID number, ID. There, so well, this is your local player that you're playing, and we're just gonna say on the top of the screen, you know, who you are. Else, we're a remote player. It's not you. This is one of the other characters in the game playing from the other computers. So then we will just say script.set player caption. We'll still do the thing with the ID, so we can see who's who. And then we'll just take the script and we will disable it. With the script disabled, none of the controls are going to work on it. Therefore, we're not going to move everybody else. We'll just move ourselves. Okay? So I'm going to save this. And it's gonna, Unity should read it. And then I could put it on my player. Here's the player script. Let's add another script on there. The turn off remote player script. Okay? All right, so let's just check our checklist here to see if we have everything set up for the player. Network identity component. Oh, let's kind of click on that there. Network identity component, check. NetworkTransform component, check. The network behavior script, we just wrote it, check. And a regular player control script, that's what we did first, check. Now to set up the NetworkManager game object. This is the thing that's going to like have the, saying if we're a host or a client or if we're a server for the game. Let's put a new empty game object here to hold it. And we'll call this new empty game object NetworkManager, just so it matches up with what it's supposed to do. We could reset its position, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't have a visual. And then we could add a component called the NetworkManager component. So I press add component, network, and here we go, NetworkManager. Ba-da. So here we have a NetworkManager component. Do we have a lot of stuff in here? And here we're going to need what is going to be the player object. So when you press that you want to come in the game, who are you going to be? We have to put the prefab here. And then we also need the little HUD that we saw on the screen. So we're going to add another component, NetworkManager HUD. Bam. Okay. So let's just see here. We added the NetworkManager component. We need the player prefab. Player prefab, where are you? Okay, let's see. We don't have a player prefab yet. We have a player, but we didn't make it into a prefab. So let's drag and drop it. Bam. Now it's a prefab. And now on the Network Manager, let's try to drag and drop this prefab right there. Bam, it took it. Very good. Now, there was a time before I kind of drag and drop my player object on the player prefab thing there, and it didn't take. It didn't take. The reason is, over here, the player prefab, as you can see in the little text there, it says prefab must have a network identity component. So, if you drag and drop your player prefab on there and it doesn't, take, make sure you have the player prefab component with the network identity component. Okay? Good. So, we got all these things. I got the manager hub. All right. Did I finish my little checklist here? 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let's try to see what happens when I press play. So, of course, I could play locally, right? If I try to be client, it's just going to be trying to connect. It's never going to connect because somewhere somebody has to be host. So I can't do the client one. If I try to be a server for the multiplayer game here, there, great, I'm a server. But what can I do? I can't control anything because, I'm a player in the game. So stop server. So what I'm going to be is the host. Bam. And it looks like there's 2 different game objects in here. I'm controlling this one and there's this one. Well, that's because I made a player prefab, but when I start the multiplayer game, it's going to put my player in there, so I don't need the player actually in the game. So I'm going to take this out, delete it. Okay, save. Now if I press play, boom, the game didn't, it's just like the lobby here, so I'm going to be the host. Bam, I'm player 1. This is player 1 up there, and now I can move around with my player 1. Whoop-de-doo, whoop-de-doo. So now for the ultimate test, if this game is really multiplayer, we should be able to save this game. So let me go to File, Build Settings. I'm going to have to build the game, right? So I could make 2 instances of the game. So here we have to add a scene to our build. So I'll just add the sample scene, which is the only scene we have. And then I'm going to build it for the PC. And let me check the player settings. I want to make sure that the game is going to start up not full screen, because on my one computer, I kind of want to put multiple times. So let me scroll down here. Something about... I have to look for something about the window the game plays in. So let's close that. I think it's right here. Resolution. So I went to Project Settings, Player, and Resolution and Presentation. And you see by default, the game's going to run on a PC in full screen mode. I'm going to change that to windowed mode. And now I can set the size of the default window. which I'm going to make it a little bit smaller than that so I could fit 3 of them like I did in my demo. And what other kind of things it says here? Blah, 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 blah. If the window's resizable, yeah, sure, why not? Let the person resize the window. And that should be good. Mainly, I wanted to make this windowed mode, all right? So that setting's changed. But remember, I got there from pressing this. Now, I'm going to build and run. So it's going to build. It's going to ask me, where do you want to build this guy? So it's here in my Unity, the game folder here. That's my assets folder. I'm just going to make another folder, and I'll call it build. Right, this is like my finished game. So I go in there and I select that folder, and then the build process begins. And after the build process ends, it'll actually start the game up for us so we can see it. So the whole thing about a build is it's taking, the game that until this point, we were only able to play our game in Unity. And it's taking the game and making it into like an executable, a binary form of itself, so that you don't need Unity anymore to play the game. You just have the game itself. So here is the multi-tutorial game that we just made. And I could be the host here. And yeah, since this is playing across a network, I guess my Windows Defender, my Windows stuff's kind of like flagged off that something wants to access network privileges. So I'll say, okay, I'll let my game do that. And now I could like move around my player here on this one game. Now I want to start up another copy of the game, so let me just get a pointer to it. Here is the easiest way, show an explorer, and then let me go to that build folder, and this is the exe of my game right here, multi-tutorial. It matches the same name as my project, and let me just send the copy to my desktop. Ba-dump. Okay, and minimize this, minimize my Visual Studio, and here it is, multi-tutorial. Now I'll start up another instance of this game. Okay, now the game's going to try to connect here to localhost, which, as we said before, is right here on my computer. Connect, and bam, here's player 2. So here I click in this window, controlling player 2 in this window where the mouse is, and you can see in the other window that player 2 is moving around for whoever's playing on that other instance of the game. And just like in my demo before, I could keep opening up, and more people could keep joining. Now, how many people could join? I don't know. Let's see, I got three people joining in this little game. Let's do another one. Come on, 3. And client, now I got 4 people joining. Let's go again. And here we go. Let's get 5. Oh, it stopped at 5. Now, why would it do that? I don't know. Let's find out. Let's go back and look at our network manager. Maybe has some setting for how many people could jump in. And the network manager, right here, it says max connections 4. So here's why I imagine where you could control, how many people could jump in and play your game. So I only imagine that the higher that number, the more network traffic is going to happen. The more data is going to transfer over the network. So it could be a little slower. But basically, that's how you set up to turn your game into a multiplayer game across a network. I probably have to make another little piece of information here, and that's about making sure that the computers that you're playing on could actually see each other. Because if there is an IP address that I type in and I can't see, let me show you that part right here. This is the last part of the tutorial. Because, when you do start the game, right here, I'm the host, so very simply, I could just say host, right? But then if somebody else is starting the game on their computer, they're going to have to actually tell it where the host is, You're going to have to type in the IP number, like I said. So what happens is you have to make sure you could see that computer. So here, if I did IP config, that's what gave me here the IP address of this laptop. But if I wanted to make sure I could see another computer, I could just say ping, and then whatever that computer's IP address is, let's make up 168.254.18, okay? And it's going to try to ping. It's basically like trying to call that computer, like a telephone call. And you see, my computer cannot find this computer number. I just typed in a random number. So if you have this problem, you're not going to be able to play. So setting up your computer so that they're all on the same network, that's going to have to be maybe in another tutorial I'll do. That's like a networking thing, not a multiplayer game thing. Anyway, there you go. You made it to the end. Have fun. Wow, you made it to the end of the video. I'm so proud of you. Maybe you want to see more videos. And maybe you want to check out my website, omarvision.com, where, in the tutorial section, it's a collection of all the videos I've ever made. And these blue links are the actual projects, and the orange links under the videos are the actual assets that are used in the videos. And if you want, you could also search here, much easier, for things. If you're looking for something, you type in a word and press search, and it will reduce the videos that show anything about what you just typed in. Hey, drop me a like, drop me a subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.